Good evening. It is Wednesday, September 17th, 2023, and welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board meeting. This is a Town Board work session. We have 8 items on the agenda. If everyone would please rise and face the flag. Councilman Baranowski will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing to recognize the sacrifices of our young men and women serving around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start off with 5 minutes of public comment. I see that we have 5 residents here. If anybody wants to. No, Tom? Well, thank you for coming anyway. The first thing is I asked the town board members to review the minutes from the August 16th and the September 6th town board meetings. Our clerk, Ann Spofford, had sent them to us all. First up is Mary Ann Maxwell, our town controller. And Ann Pasquarello, my chief of staff. Consider authorizing requests for proposals for copier lease town departments. Ladies?
Okay, good evening, Board. As you know, our current inventory of copiers is coming to the end of their lifespan. They're well over 10 years old. They served us very well, and it's time for us to go out for proposals. So there before you, you have a copy of the proposal. It was reviewed by our IT contractors, Knocker, and our legal counsel, Greg Falchetti, and they found it to be acceptable in form. So we are asking, Marion and I, if the board will authorize a resolution for us to go out for proposals for copiers for the various departments. If anybody has any questions regarding the proposal. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's a
Thank you.
total of
Thank you.
8 copiers that we're going to be,
8 copiers.
I believe so. I think there's 8, right? Yeah.
Are they all going to be the same?
Well, it's for
No.
within the proposal, it has the various departments.
Yeah, on
No, there's different
page
sizes.
4, yeah. But they're, like Ann said, they're over 10 years old, the ones that we have now, so we're having a lot of issues with them.
Yeah,
so.
they've been down for parts,
Yes.
sometimes for days or longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mary Ann, the copier at the highway department, that's separate?
Yes.
Yes,
They
that is
have a
separate, and
separate
that's
lease.
recently new.
Renewed
Yes.
renewed lease?
Renew, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
All right, if there's no other questions, thank you.
Thank you.
The second item is, again, Mary Ann Maxwell, our town controller. Consider request authorize budget revisions June through August of 2023. Mary Ann?
thank you. I'll go through most of the ones in the general fund. Number 1, we're providing for the payout of accrued vacation time in the Justice Court Department for $1,343. Number 2, we're providing for the retirement incentive and payout of accrued time for 2 police department retirees. The total payout of accrued time was $218,000. That comes from a fund balance that we hold with accrued balances, and the $100,000 came from the uniform salary line. Number 3 and 4, we're providing for police vehicle repairs and the license plate reader repairs, both from insurance claims that we received. Number 5, we're providing for a police youth camp from registration fees. The police department ran a youth camp, and the cost, I think, was $100 per camper, so that the cost from those fees covered the cost of the camp. Number 6, we're providing for temporary staff and youth expenses from revenue received. The Parks Department did take in a lot of campers this year, so they had a very well-attended camp. So we obviously had to cover the expenses, so that's basically what I'm doing, is providing for those expenses from the increase in revenue. So, number 7, we're providing for Volts Park Trail improvement from anticipated 50/50 Hudson River Valley Land Trail Grant. That's a tongue twister, but that's a total of $3,900. Actually, I think the grant that's $3,900 is what we're spending. The rest will be covered by the grant. Number 9, transfer for increased cost of antivirus software. Number 10 is the transfer for Everbridge. And number 11 is the transfer for increased cost of technology consultant. This is all coming from the contingent line. So $7,000 is for the increase in the antivirus software. $8,900 is for Everbridge, and the technology and consultant, the increase in that was $7,500. Number 12, transfer for police overtime expense of $110,000. That's coming from police staff lines. Number 13, we're transferring for conference and training expense in the police department of $65,000. Number 14, transferring for lake patrol overtime expense of $25,000. Number 15, transferring for K-9 staff expense, a total of $9,000, these are all coming from other police lines. Number 16, transferring $3,000 for EV charge electricity expense, EV chargers, electricity expense. Number 17, transferring for miscellaneous recreation expense within the recreation department. In the highway fund, number 15, providing for the July storm-related cost. This is just the beginning of it. Right now, we're transferring $70,000. We do have a call with FEMA tomorrow to begin the process of the recovery from that storm. So I think there's going to be a lot more costs involved. So to be continued with that. Number 19, providing for highway project costs from an increase in CHIPS funding. Number 20, providing for highway project costs from revenue received from other special districts projects. Number 22 and 23, we're providing for costs related to insurance. So these costs were provided from insurance claims with the highway vehicle and the highway boom truck repairs. On page 3, the park districts and the water districts, I'm not going to go through all of these, but most of these expenses are either emergency repair expenses, chemicals, increase in PFOA samplings. Those are mostly in the water districts. I'm not going to go through each fund, but we did see an increase in the PFOA sampling, emergency repairs. These are all being transferred within the funds, so we're not taking any money from the fund balances, which is good. So right now, we're able to cover the cost without going into the fund balance. The only exception to that is Sewer District 3, which is on the bottom of page 4. We have to transfer $5,000 from that fund balance. On the top of page 4, we are transferring $16,000 into Water District 9. That's from an insurance claim. Also in Water District 13, we're transferring for a generator purchase. A total of $9,000 is being transferred for the generator. I'm not sure what the cost of the generator is, but that's what we needed to transfer to cover the cost.
That's what it was.
Sewer District 2, transferring for the purchase of UV bulbs, a total of $38,000 in that fund. The UV bulbs, I think, is $8,000, and contractual expenses is $30,000. Sewer District 4, we're providing and transferring for emergency purchase of SCADA computer and air compressors. And that's coming from anticipated revenue received from New York City DEP for the microfiltration plants. On page 5, in the town drainage capital project, Water District 2 capital project, and Water District 9, we're transferring for capital project expenses within those districts. That's it.
Great.
Mary Ann, with
Okay.
the EV charging line, do we have a revenue line for that as well?
We do have a revenue line for that, yeah.
And has there been any revenue
I
associated with it?
think, I think it's about $5 so far that we've received in revenue.
And how is that pay, I mean, what's the charge?
So basically.
Not the electric charge, what's the charge?
I'd have to look at it again. I don't recall what that was. Is it 25 cents?
Yeah,
I
we
think
put
it
it
was
in the user
25
fee.
cents, yeah,
Kilowatt, right?
but,
Hmm.
yeah, 25 cents per kilowatt. You know, I think did you ever send a report? We do get a monthly report, so we can send that to you, to the board. You have those, or, oh, you're right, no, okay, yep, so,
But we'll
yeah, we
recoup
can
that
do that.
68,000
Yeah,
by 2057.
I'm sorry?
As long as you have it calculated, though.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, it's not much as of yet.
It's not
but,
much.
yeah. So, but we can definitely get that. I might be a little off on the $5, but I think it was
It was like 430, and then there was another one
for the first month, I think, yeah, so, and then I think that the biggest location that was getting the most use was the bank parking lot. And then that went to, after the July storm, I don't know if anybody even wants to go in there, so.
No,
But that was being used a lot, not a lot, but the most,
the most.
most frequently, yeah. So, but we'll get that to the board.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So our third item is Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., Town Engineer. Consider request to acknowledge emergency repairs and services for Carmel Water Districts 4, 5, and 6. Rich?
Yes, so, thank you, Board. So, as Supervisor said, Carmel Water District 4 on August 17th, B&J, the operators of Water 4, notified the department that one of the two booster pumps was leaking. The piece of equipment was about 11 years old, and the water treatment plant uses both of those booster pumps. There's an invoice in the amount of $11,303 for the spare booster, ESV booster pump. The intent was to place the new pump in service so the original pump can be repaired and used as a spare. So they do operate them both at the same time. A third one would be good to have on spare, and we'll use it from there. So there's sufficient funds in the budget, and it was included in when we developed our budget in 2022 for 2023. Water District 5, B&J, the operators there, identified that the well pump for number 3 had failed. It was due to a lightning strike. This will be going through insurance. This is the highest producing well for the water district. There was an invoice in the amount of $16,195 for new well and pump installation. There were sufficient funds to cover this. Like I said, it's going in for insurance. Water District 6, B&J, again, the operators of that water district noted that the variable frequency drives for booster pumps 1 and 2 had failed. It was again due to a lightning strike. There's an invoice in the amount of $14,160 for the replacement and install of new VFDs. There were sufficient funds to cover this, and it has been submitted to insurance for reimbursement.
Anybody comment, question? All right, so the fourth item is consider request to accept proposal for planning consultant services.
So as the board knows, the request for proposal was solicited in July of this year. There's an RFP that was attached to the backup, and a list of New York State bid documentation report was attached. The request was to engage the services of a professional planning consultant to support the planning board and engineering department staff in review of residential, commercial, and redevelopment applications that go in front of the planning, zoning board, and town board as required. The RFP would identify the contract would be effective for 3 years, starting January 1st through December 2026, with the unilateral option for 2 one-year additional terms, 27 and 28. I'm not going to go through the scope of the RFP, that's actually listed in there. The RFP required proposals provide a total cost with the work. There was one firm that responded, Cleary Consulting. A copy of their proposal was attached, and it's a cost of $70,000 a year for 2024, 25, 26, 27, and 28 each individual year. Cleary Consulting is the current planner for the town. They've been doing these services since 1995. And based on this, we recommend the scope of work be recommended and awarded to Cleary Consulting.
Thanks.
Nobody else responded, just.
No, I sent it out to, I think, about 12 or 13 different firms, and nobody else. I got some questions back from some, but nobody put in a proposal. So.
All right, so next up, number 5 is consider request to authorize renewal of garbage contract for garbage removal, Town Hall, Sewer Districts 2 and 4, and Water District 2, Sycamore Park, Lake Cassie Park, Lake Secor Park District, and the Highway Department. Rich?
So the board, we just entered into this agreement with AAA. They have been performing the service for about 10 years. They asked us earlier this year if they can get an increase in their pricing because they had held them for 10 years. The board voted on it probably about a month ago and made it retro to April, was when they originally made their request. We contacted, this is being done, all 3 of these were being done, well, the past 2 were being done for budgeting purposes for 2024, so we know what we're looking at. We asked them if they were going to hold their prices. They essentially said yes, they would hold for 2024 what we had agreed to already, 2 exceptions. Lake Secor was not included in the original contract that we had put together, so they'd like that put in there, and they'd like to increase the highway collection from 280 to 290, 250. Again, that was an oversight on our part when we presented it to the board. They've been performing this service to the town since 2013, and we recommend that the contract be renewed with AAA at that point with that updated pricing for those 2 items.
Who's doing Secor?
They're doing it now.
No, who's doing it before?
No, they've been doing it forever. We
Oh,
just
we
didn't
missed it
include
when
them,
we-
right, we missed including
We
them. So
missed
they've
that
been
one.
doing it.
Yeah.
It's just that they were getting paid at the lower rate, and we had missed putting it in the original one to the board.
Right. Anybody?
Supervisor May, you looking at me before when you were talking, when Mary Ann was talking about the generators
Carmel
for
generator.
Carmel Water District 13.
Yeah.
So we had looked at New York State BidNet for the generator. That's over on Crest Road for the booster tanks. It's one that, we have right now, a grant that we're looking and seeking to get that money for, but we also have funding to get it in there. Right now, our portable one has been sitting up there ad infinitum. It'd be good to have our portable one a year to use in case of emergency. That number for 13, while it was 9,000, didn't include the price for Carmel Water District 10. So those 2 districts will be bearing the brunt or will be carrying the cost for that generator. So that's why it was only about $9,000. It's basically distributed by population and flow that is going to each of those 2 districts. So Water District 10 would be paying some of that, but the transfer needed to come out for 13. In case we were going to purchase it outright, it would go through New York State BidNet and we'd be able to do it. If not, we're going to get it through the grant process. So, and I know that Mary Ann and Ann spoke about printers today, and I'd like the board to respectfully consider maybe a plotter or 2. The building department used to have a plotter, and theirs has basically died. And the one that's in the engineering department was on lease forever. And I think we finally paid the lease off. Mary Ann, you probably know the dates when it was paid off, but that's over 10 years old too, and it's starting to show wear and tear. So maybe the contract we get can include at least 2 plotters or at least 1 plotter to upgrade. Maybe we could speak to Naka about that. And I'm sorry I didn't speak to Ann and Mary Ann prior to this meeting tonight, and I apologize for bringing that to the board at this point in time.
Rich, do they have?
I don't know. That's something, again, I didn't speak to Ann or Mary Ann before. I didn't realize that I realized they were doing it, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together, so.
Yeah, we'll look at that tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, it's, if it can happen, it happens. If it doesn't, so be it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Rich.
So our 6th item is Michael Simone, our highway superintendent, consider request to declare old equipment obsolete and authorize disposal. His memo from August 29th, he states that they have a truck number 39. It's a 2006 International 4900 4x2 dump. He has old mower heads and old plow blades, old dump body headboards. They say that truck 39 has outlived its useful life, as well as the other items, and they are accumulating in the yard. And then the seventh item, again from Highway Superintendent Michael Simone, dated August 23rd. He requests to attend the 2023 New York State Association of, I don't know, Highway Superintendents, right? Highway Annual Conference. Association of Town Superintendents of Highway Annual Conference. That's September 26th through the 29th. The estimated cost is $537 for a 3-night stay, $700 for the food package and registration fee, and $150 estimated gas expenses. These costs were included in his 23 budget request. That was approved. And our eighth and last item is from our building inspector, Michael Carnazza. His memo dated September 8th, 2023. This is about training. He is asking that Joe Wilikowski, our fire inspector, be able to take 18 of the 24 hours of required training from the October 22 through 24 class in Latham, New York. The cost of the class is $395. In addition, he will need a 2-night stay at the hotel at $114 a night. Mike assures me that this is a regular training that the building department goes to every year and have been attending every year. I have an announcement from our tax receiver, Kathleen Kraus. The 2023-2024 school tax bills, your school tax bills, they were mailed out on Thursday, August 31st. They are due without penalty by September 30th. If you have not received your tax bill in the mail, you can access it online at the Town of Carmel website. From this site, you can view, print, and pay your bill. You can also call the Receiver of Taxes office or stop by for a copy of your bill. The number at Town Hall is 845-628-1500, and just ask for the Receiver of Taxes. Please remember that it is the property owner's responsibility to obtain a copy of their tax bill. Pursuant to New York State Real Estate Tax Law, Section 922, failure for a property owner to receive their tax bill does not in any way affect the validity of your taxes or prevent the accruing of any penalties or interest for non-payment.
You said school tax.
Wait, it's on his board.
School taxes, it's your school tax bill.
I'll have to make it bigger.
What, pursuant? And also, we just commemorated September 11th, the 22 years since that horrific event. We had a memorial here at Town Hall for the fallen heroes and victims, and I had a great privilege and honor to dedicate the last planter from the World Trade Center. There was a gentleman, Pete Creedon. He was a resident of Mahopac. He tragically passed away in 2014 at the age of 52. His wife, Claudine, and his daughter, Lauren, and also her husband Alex and their grandson and some close friends were present here at Town Hall. Peter was instrumental using his connections with the Port Authority and through his work with the unions to help the then Supervisor Schmidt and the town to acquire the great pieces of steel that they used that Joel Greenberg, the local architect, designed for that memorial out there. So thanks to my Chief of Staff, Ann Pasquarello, we constructed a plaque. Mahopac Flower Shop put some beautiful flowers and arranged something in that planter. And that planter, we have a plaque on there that says, the planter, one of 27 surrounding the fountain at One World Trade Center, is the only one that survived the devastating attacks on September 11th, 2021. This planter, identified as Artifact C0053, was presented to the town of Carmel by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. The town of Carmel acknowledges with deep gratitude Peter Cregan, 1962 to 2014, who without his help, influence, and support, these sacred artifacts and the 9/11 memorial at the Carmel Town Hall would not have been possible. God bless America. If you haven't seen this, our memorial or the new planter that we added, you should stop by Town Hall. It's really beautiful. And not just thank you to Peter, but also all the other volunteers that helped back then when the memorial was built. Anybody else for stuff?
I just have to, in conjunction with that just recent announcement, there had been scheduled for last Friday, September 8th, that United for the Troop was hosting an Honor the Heroes, Remember 9/11, at the Mahopac Chamber Park. It's been adjourned and postponed to tomorrow night at 6:30. So Mahopac Chamber Park, music, ceremony, free barbecue. Please bring your own lawn chairs for comfort. So that's tomorrow night, so we'll see everybody there. Also, this coming Sunday at the Farmers Market, it's a community outreach day, so there's different organizations that are looking for volunteers. They'll be here at the Farmers Market, so I think the weekend weather's supposed to look good, so hopefully we'll get a lot of people there.
Thanks.
Very good. I just want to mention they're going to have the fourth annual prayer walk. This year it's going to be held at Kilmarnock Park, 226 Seminary Hill Road. It's going to be on Sunday, September 17th, 2023. So it's a great time. Come out and support the men and women in blue, all the people that were police officers and those who have also died, giving the ultimate sacrifice for their profession. So once again, it'll be Sunday, September 17th, 2023, and that'll take place at 12:15 p.m. Start time, sign in, and the walk will start promptly at 1 o'clock p.m. at Seminary Hill Road at Kilmarnock Park. There'll also be vendors there and other things for the community to be engaged in. Thank you.
No, that's it.
Good here.
So we're going to go to executive session. We have two personnel items, Police Chief Anthony Hoffman, and we have our Town Controller Miriam Maxwell. Can I get a motion to go to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. See you on the 20th.